Welcome to the Dadcast Podcast. I'm your host, Lavelle Lemonnier, and as a husband, father, Christian, professor, and proud U.S. Army veteran, I've gained a lot of experiences in several areas. So this podcast is a dad's perspective on everything from A to Z. All right, everyone, here we are with our financial tip for the day. Please remember that I am not a stockbroker or any kind of financial consultant. I am just a dad who follows the market, and I have a background in accounting and finance. So I do have some experience in this field. Today's tip or today's advice I'm taking from the Business Chronicle online. And I just want to tell you about a game that you can play. That's right, a game. It's called the Wall Street Survivor. It is a free stock market investing game that you can enjoy on your own, or you can sign up and be a part of a group if you'd like. The game gives you a fantasy bank account that you can use to invest in real stocks. The stocks move based on the real stock market activity. It helps you understand the stock market and gives you the ability to play the game better. Wall Street Survivor offers tips, interactive chat areas, and forums where you can ask experts questions and the daily stock news. All of these services are 100% free, and it really gives you a good feeling for how the stock market works on a daily basis. So I'd suggest you check it out. It's the Wall Street Survivor. All right, here we go with the dad joke of the day. Are you ready? Are you holding on? Are you sitting down? All right, can I get a drum roll, please? Today is my baby girl's 18th birthday. I'll be so glad that this is my last child support payment. Month after month, year after year, all those payments. So I call my baby girl, Lakeisha, to come to my house. And when she gets here, I say, baby girl, I want you to take this check over to your mama's house and tell her this will be the last check she's ever getting from me. And I want you to come back and tell me the expression on your mama's face. So my baby girl takes the check over to her mama, and I'm anxious to hear what she has to say about the expression on her face. Baby girl came back and walked through the door, and I said, now what your mama had to say about that? She said, to tell you that you ain't my daddy and watch the expression on your face. All right, folks, it's a dad joke. Funny to some, not so much to others. All right, let me give a great big thank you to my wife, Dr. Gabrielle Lemonnier, for all of her support and for being the co-content manager and co-creator of this podcast. And to our amazing sponsors, let me say thank you so much for sponsoring season 2 of the Dadcast podcast. We have Just the Beginning event planners for all of your event planning needs. Leave the planning to them and enjoy a worry-free experience. For more information, you can contact them at 409-466-9826. Miss Muzz Link Specialties, the best links in Buddha and this side of heaven. All beef casing filled with seasoned ground brisket, homemade and delicious. You can reach them at 832-589-0709. Lemonnier Photography and Videography, where we see the world through a different lens. You can reach them on the web at www.lemonnierphotography.com. WriteItOut.tech for all of your academic writing needs. You can reach them on the web as well at WriteItOut.tech. What's up, everybody? This is Lavelle Lemonnier. I'm coming at you with our follow-up episode. This is the first time we've had a follow-up episode. We are going to follow up from a previous episode called Ratchet TV, Reality or Scripted. And I've got in the studio with me my wife today, Dr. Gabrielle Lemonnier, who is going to help me understand a little bit about this reality TV binge/junkie thing that we have going on out here. And I guess that's not the best way to say it, but that's the best way I can think of it.
I feel offended.
Why?
Binge/junkie? Really?
Yeah, I mean, reality TV is taking up a large portion of the lives of the American public. For whatever reason, it has become very popular. If we go all the way back to reality shows that we think about, maybe American Idol or some of the singing competitions, if we go all the way back to the housewives shows, things like this that have come out that have been considered reality TV, in my mind, it has become almost an epidemic.
So reality TV goes actually back to 1950. Like, it didn't start with those that you're actually referencing right now. But I'm glad you brought up American Idol, because I know that you focused on the Ratchet TV, those ones that could probably use some support in assisting them to become more socially appropriate, I guess we would say. But if you think about the first reality show that you and I watched together, it would have been American Idol, because we're music people. And I was listening to the previous episode where you talked about your favorite reality show, and you talked about Love and Hip Hop. But I know again that was more focused on those shows that we consider to be ratchet.
Yeah. I do love music, and American Idol, The Voice, X Factor, The Four, those things I consider to be real reality TV.
Oh my God.
Because they are unscripted. Now, before I say that, I guess there could be a little bit of scripting to it, because they do set up the storylines. And I've heard, I don't know this to be a fact, but I heard that the producers on these singing competitions do screen for some excessive storylines.
Exactly. How many times have we discussed that? Ever since Fantasia was on American Idol and shared that her story, that every time we've watched any season since then, they've made sure to find someone with a story, or to give them one. Like, do we really know, since you think it's scripted?
But it's music.
Oh, whatever.
And at the end of the day, they sing or they can't sing. This Ratchet TV is just ratchet.
We all got some ratchet in us.
And we might. But this is perpetuating a stereotype, especially in the minority community.
True.
So why is it that it's so captivating to someone like you? For our audience, we have, when I did the first part of this, we had 10 countries that we were streaming in. We're now up to 14 countries. So for our international audience,
shout out to the international waters. We love you. We love the U.S. as well, but thank you all.
Ratchet TV. I'm talking to my wife, who has a doctorate, 2 master's degrees, an undergraduate degree. I've got a graduate degree, an undergraduate degree. We are not uneducated people, but she is fixated with Ratchet TV. Why is that?
I am fixated on reality TV. I watch The Bachelor. I watch American Idol.
Even The Bachelor has become a little ratchet.
I've watched Vanderpump Rules, Next Top Model, Family Feud, you name it, I've seen it. And so for me, it is an outlet. So some people use yoga, some people use meditation. I use, in this instance, what you would consider. So we're going to move aside again from reality and just focus on what you are calling, and we both call, Ratchet TV. I use it as an outlet. Like, it does not require any brain power for me to sit back and just listen to the foolishness that goes on those shows.
So it is entertainment.
So I don't. I mean, I don't necessarily know that I've ever looked at it like entertainment. While there are probably many instances in which for me, entertainment would be something that makes me laugh. I'm a comedy type of person, so I enjoy comedies. A good comedy, a good chick flick. For reality TV, again, it's relaxation. Like it's an outlet. It has nothing to do, in my perspective, with entertainment as much as it does with just allowing me to have some background noise, if you will. Many times I'm not even watching TV. I'm listening and doing something else, multitasking, and it's debatable as to whether or not I can walk and chew bubble gum. I think I can. He doesn't think I can, but hey, who knows? But many times I'm not necessarily fixated on the TV, but I can definitely tell you the gist of what's going on. But again, for me, it's an outlet. It has nothing to do with me being entertained as much as it does just having some background noise, if you will.
So let's get into something a little more specific in that vein. The Bachelorette recently, Claire, I don't recall her last name, but she was the Bachelorette, and she went 2 or 3 weeks in and decided she was in love with Dale. Now, we're in I don't want to say post Black Lives Matter climate. We are still in the midst of a Black Lives Matter climate, as well as the Me Too movement, which are both very important, and I don't want to downplay them in any way, but I do want to use them as a backdrop for what I think the producers are doing on these shows to capitalize on the minority market. In particular, The Bachelorette, as I said, had a Caucasian bachelorette by the name of Claire, who 2 or 3 weeks into the show fell in love blindly in some cases with with Dale, who is an African American man but of mixed descent as well, and they stopped the show. Basically, they stopped the show because she didn't want to see any of the other bachelors that were available. They went off, they got engaged, and a new bachelorette, who happened to be an African American woman, only the second on the Bachelorette, came in and took over the show. So is that scripted?
Yeah, so I still don't necessarily agree with your perspective as to whether or not that indicates or is indicative of scripting. I do, however, believe that the fact that we had a black or mixed race bachelorette followed by a mixed race bachelor who we currently have is not by chance. I believe that you and I discussed in depth the other day, this council culture, and I believe that it is real, and I believe that it can have deep effects on the pockets of those who have deep pockets, and I believe that they recognize that. They see what is happening, and they are taking this opportunity to respond, if you will, or to be proactive in some instances. So it's reactive and proactive, huh? You probably never thought anybody would be able to say that. It's reactive in the fact that they know that they've gone season after season after season after season with Caucasian bachelors and bachelorettes. But they're proactive in that they have seen show after show and person after person fall subjective to this whole council culture. And before they find themselves in the line of fire, I feel like they felt they needed to respond or to be proactive, if you will.
And so she alluded to Matt James, who is the current bachelor, who has a Caucasian mother and an African American father, or I don't know if we want to call him a father because Matt said that his father was never in his life.
Doesn't change the fact of what he is.
Well, maybe he's not a dad, he's a father.
Hey.
At any rate, Matt is the current bachelor, and one of the characters, I'm going to call her on the show.
Oh my goodness, the people are characters?
In this case, I'm going to say she's a character by the name of Victoria, who
she is a character.
Who self-proclaimed herself to be, and I guess I shouldn't say self-proclaimed herself, but at any rate, she's a self-proclaimed queen, Queen Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
She was a drama queen on the show. Eventually, Matt booted her off the show and moved on to the other relations.
I would say he politely escorted her.
He booted her off the show. Enough of her drama in the house.
All hail the queen.
But she was she even a serious contender?
Yeah, so no, let me say this. I hate to even go down a road that makes it look like I support this whole conspiracy theory of scriptedness. But what I do believe is that these producers and people who are responsible for these shows understand that it's something that causes people to gravitate, if you will, to these shows. And I have yet to see any one of these shows that don't have their amount of drama that is going to keep a person engaged. And so if we talk about American Idol, they start in with these people that they know cannot sing, but yet they allow them to come on the show. Sometimes they're yodeling, sometimes they're like sounding like somebody killed a cat. You name it, it is there. But it is those types of things that draw people into the show, if you will. And when we look at The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, we've always known that those people are on those shows as well. And we always say, well, they're going to stay on for a extended amount of time because that's part of what keeps the show interesting and what makes people continue to watch week after week. So scripted, don't necessarily know that a person like Victoria would allow anybody to tell her what to say, but did they go and seek out the most over-the-top person that they could find and allow them to be themselves on the show? I could probably go for that.
That's a perspective, not mine, by the way. I think it's totally scripted. I think that Victoria was cast on the show for the drama, as you mentioned, but that she was given direction on how that would go. I think that Matt knew that there would be personalities like that on the show, and let's say for every season they have that type of personality, one or two on the show, which does keep the intensity up, keeps the drama up. But I'm just wondering, I don't know, I didn't have a chance to find the statistics on this, but Claire and Dale, for instance, off of The Bachelorette, are now not together. And it makes me think that whole 2 or 3 week episode with them was just to appease the climate that we're in, that it was not a real relationship, and that someone, the producers or the executives of the show, told them this is what you're going to do, and then you have to stay together for a certain amount of time, and then you can have a public breakup and go on about your business. That leads me to another show that you watch, and I, by default, have paid attention to, Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight is a show that, for those that may not be familiar with it, it's a reality show where the experts, and I'm using air quotes here, but they do have credentials, pick mates they match these individuals together based on scientific data. And the first time that the couple sees each other is the altar or at the officiating position for the wedding. They interview both of them, get a lot of detail and data on them, and then they match them, and then they get married, and then they have a certain amount of time to figure out whether they want to stay married or get a divorce. What do you think about that? That is an interesting concept, but is it real?
Yeah, so I'm actually watching an episode of, or a season of Married at First Sight right now. And just what they're doing now is what's called a couples couch. And weekly, they bring on previous seasons couples who are married and now have children in many instances. So whether or not I believe it's real, well, I mean, the people are married for years and have kids. And for me, it's no different than people who meet on Tinder or blackpeoplemeet.com or whatever the current dating sites are. You are going into something blindly. Now, I should not necessarily say it's no different, but the beginning of it is the same. You're going into something blindly. Now, they take a leap where they miss the opportunities to, hey, meet me at the coffee shop and let me meet you. They meet the person at the altar for the first time. Nonetheless, in many instances, those relationships do work. And if I could have an opportunity just to go back for a second to Claire's relationship and whether or not I support or not even necessarily support, but am in agreement with that perspective. For me, Claire has been on several. She goes back to Juan Pablo's season of The Bachelor. She's been 2, 3, maybe 4 different seasons, whether it was The Bachelor, it was Bachelor in Paradise, and then finally she was The Bachelorette. And her personality, I mean, I've watched her. She has not changed over time. She is a no nonsense, I'm not going to settle type person. And so for me to believe that all of a sudden that she, someone who has a child, who has been fighting for what is right for herself and her child, would allow a franchise to dictate to her how she should respond in her opportunity to become the Bachelorette. Yeah, no, I can't support that. I doubt that. Just again, because I feel like, and this is partly when you look up like why people are watching reality show, is because they say that it gives us an opportunity to feel like we actually know the people. And so from that perspective, I feel like I know Claire, and I could not see Claire allowing anybody to put her in a position that minimizes her free will, if you will.
Well, that is, we are obviously falling right into the hands of the producers because we are having an entire episode about this. It's interesting enough to discuss and interesting enough for those that are listening to continue listening to. So I think there's some merit to that. I just don't think that, I think that the powers that be on these shows can have enough persuasion to cause these things to have a predicted or a defined outcome. Let's move on. Though that's I guess we could debate that for a while. The thing is that I, who think that these things are scripted, still watch them, whether I think that they're scripted or not. They are entertaining to me. Sometimes they do get on my nerves, especially when they fall into stereotypes. They can get a little bit on my nerves. But at any rate, what about let's go back to Braxton family values. I am not a Tamar fan. I think that she's spoiled, that as the baby of the family, she was catered to to a deficit almost. At any rate, she is an entertaining personality. The Braxton family values, for those that may not be familiar with it, you have Tony Braxton, you got Tracy Braxton, Tawanda Braxton, and Tamar Braxton.
Trina.
And Trina. I'm sorry, Trina, if you happen to hear this episode and I left you out, it is not on purpose. But, and then you have the mother and the father. They also have a brother who has made appearances on the show. So, Braxton Family Values is more of a less traditional reality show, in my opinion, because it does follow the life of these sisters who are in the limelight, and it deals with their love slash not so much love relationship. They've used people such as Iyanla Van Zant. Did they use T.D. Jakes on one back a few seasons back? They did. They used T.D. Jakes as a counselor to try to mend some of their broken fences. Is that real? Is that really how their relationship goes?
So what we do know, if we are paying attention to what has recently happened to Tamar, that really kind of supports your views. She has said over and over again that the producers, the franchise, WeTV, is that what they're on? I don't want to call out the wrong station.
We or Oprah, one of the two.
Station, but she said over and over that that franchise ruined the relationship that she had with her sisters. Now, anybody who has sisters, or sometimes even brothers, know that people fight. But she has said over and over again that they were set up to fight, to bring out the worst in whatever situations that they were in. And honestly, Tamar is not the only one who has said that. Right now, Nene Leakes is saying something similar. But if you listen to Andy Cohen, who oddly enough has a different perspective now that he is on the hot seat, but I won't get too far ahead of myself. If you just listen to what Andy Cohen has said over the years and his perspective when people have said that they feel like these networks are showing the worst of them, Andy Cohen has reminded each of them at the reunion shows that we can only show what you give us. And so if you are not out there acting in that manner, then there would be nothing to show. So are we saying that professional, which in most instances on most shows, Married to Medicine, Braxton Family Values,
Bell Collective,
Bell Collectors, Candy Nim, what are they?
Housewives
of Atlanta, Potomac, even Orange County. Let me not leave out Caucasian type shows. Vanderpump Rules, well, not so much Vanderpump Rules. Let me let them go. But those other ones that I mentioned, most of those people are professional, highly paid folks. And so are we saying that for the sake of TV, that these people are allowing these networks to jeopardize their means of income?
Hey folks, let me take just a quick minute to thank our sponsors for Season 2. We have Just the Beginning event planners for all of your event planning needs. Leave the planning to them and enjoy a worry-free experience. For more information, contact 409-466-9826. We also have Miss Muzz Link Specialties. Now folks, these are the best links in Boudin this side of heaven. All beef casing filled with seasoned ground brisket, homemade and delicious. You can contact Darren Raymond at 832-589-0709. We'll have phenomenal solutions. These folks are some excellent consultants who provide the skills that you need to enhance your personal and professional life. They specialize in resilience training, compassion fatigue, burnout, dynamic mindfulness, accessible yoga, processing circles, trauma-informed practices, and work-life balance. Lemonnier Photography. For all of your photography and videography needs, we see the world through a different lens. You can reach us on the web at www.lemonnierphotography.com. And finally, writeitout.tech. For all your writing academic needs, you can reach us on the web at writeitout.tech. Thanks to our great sponsors. Let's get back to our episode. But are they jeopardizing or are they replacing? Because if they are highly paid, they are not poorly paid to be on reality TV.
Yeah, so I did not mean highly paid reality TV, because that's another conversation that is occurring right now. Minorities are not being paid anywhere near those. So if you looked at the income of reality, Real Housewives of Atlanta and Potomac, and looked at the income of Real Housewives of New York and Orange County, they are not, all incomes are not created, which is not different from those of us who walk into the workplaces every day. We know that we, as females, African American females, have to be twice as smart and work twice as hard to get the same positions that we're qualified for, but then we still don't get the pay. And that could be even against a African American male. We can be, again, twice as smart as them and have twice as many letters or degrees behind our names, and still do not get equal pay to those people as those people. And so when we consider that, the fact that the pay that I was referencing is that Candy makes her money from her many companies.
Candy is on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay.
Married to Medicine, you've got doctors and dentists and those people. So that's what I'm really referencing, is that when I say, people who are making a decent living, allowing these shows to possibly jeopardize, because look at T.I. and Tiny right now. So there's been some allegations against them, and now their show is on hold. And so it's not just T.I. and Tiny, but it's all of the people who they employed, who were on the show, who are not going to be paid. And so unless you have a real job, a day-to-day job, a way to make money, you have to make sure that you know where your money's coming from. So when I said, why allow these shows to put you in that type of jeopardy, again, I just want to keep going back to the fact that the cancel culture is real.
And along with the realness of the cancer culture, I'd have to think that these networks are dangling. And I do understand, let me preface it by saying I do understand that there's not equal pay for equal work. That is an issue that we have to settle in this country.
Yeah, not even on the same show. Like Candy is the highest paid person on Housewives of Atlanta. And it's because of what she already brought to the table, if you will. And so it's no different. Again, like I said, then if I went into a job interview and I have 17 years of educational experience while someone else has 15 years, just the way that the pay structure is set up, then I would receive more money if I were to be offered the position. And so that same thing happens on reality shows.
And I don't doubt that. I think that's probably accurate. I just think that these networks are dangling some significant amount of money in front of these individuals to get them to even agree to be on a reality show at first.
Unless you just want to be on TV.
If you're clout chasing.
Yeah, because look what happens to those people who show up on TV. They become, because one of the fastest growing lucrative types of jobs and income comes from social media. So just the fact that you were on an episode even of any show opens up the possibility for many followers.
And so we're still talking about whether this is scripted or not. Seems like when we think about different shows that there are different levels of scriptedness. Some of them may have a little more input from producers than the other shows. Maybe in an effort to create parity among the shows, they do have a balance of heavily scripted and very little scripting.
Yeah, sure. So the only thing is that so you're currently preparing for something that's scripted. The people emailed you. Here is your script. Here's what when you show up, sir. This is what we would like you to say. And when I think of scripted, that's what I think of. But do I think that when Candy and any other housewife go to lunch, did someone set that up that you all are going to meet for lunch on this day and we're going to film? Possibility. But do I think that they're sitting around memorizing lines to say on these shows? Yeah, not so much. Because they're not actresses. Like I cannot in good conscience, sit here and say that I feel like any of these shows that I watch are scripted to the fact of, somebody is sitting around running lines with one another in preparation for recording.
Fair enough. I will take that point of view, and I will take an opposite stance. I do think that they are actresses and actors in a certain sense. But again, the different levels of it. Hey, what about, tell me about this Bell Collective show. What is that about?
So, Bell Collective is just 2, maybe 3 weeks in, and it, honestly, it's the setting is Mississippi. And there are 5 stars or people starring on the show. I cannot tell you their names because I've not paid that much attention. It's kind of been one of those background noise shows, if you will. And it looks like they are running the theme of a women support each other kind of situation and revitalizing the community kind of situation. And we are bosses and this is what we can do so that we can all work together. So one lady has had several Southern style brunches. Each episode, she's had a brunch where she's bringing all the ladies in, and her goal for bringing them together is to talk to them about her dream to revitalize a street that is very popular, or that was very popular for African Americans back in the day in Jackson, Mississippi. That was the Mecca. That street was the Mecca for black people. The show has taken the liberty of showing several photos of that street, just vibrant and filled. It reminds me of Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and I cannot think of Beale Street out in Mississippi. So not just pubs and bars, but actual shops and places for African Americans to gather and do their trading, if you will, and buying their goods and offering their services.
Okay. So I haven't paid that much attention to the new show, but I did hear it on the television. And Ready for Love. That's an interesting show. It is somewhat similar to the Bachelor franchise, I'd imagine. They have men and women on the show who come together, and they are basically, for lack of a better term, interviewing each other to see, or feeling each other out just to see where the chemistry lies and who's going to be coupled up. But they do vote each other off alternating weeks, if I recall that correctly. So again, similar personalities to some of the other shows, but this is an all African American cast who they go through the dynamics of getting to know one another. This one seems a lot less scripted to me.
Is it because your homeboy's on there?
I do know someone who was on the show from the Houston area, but I don't think that's the reason. I just think that this show seems a little more genuine, a little more authentic. Perhaps they haven't gotten to the point where they have to have the producers to dictate in any kind of way how things are going to end up. But all of these reality shows are very interesting from the perspective that they show different personalities and they show the dynamics that relationships have, and we get to see whether they're going to link up together or go their separate ways. I just think it's entertaining. I don't put a lot of stock in it, but it's entertaining. It does pass an evening for sure. Now I got to go back to one of my all-time favorites, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the flagship of ratchetness in my mind, with the good guy Stevie J, and the main character, I'm going to say, in Stevie J's life, are the most popular maybe, outside of his daughter's mother, was Jocelyn Hernandez.
The Puerto Rican princess.
The Puerto Rican princess, Jocelyn Hernandez. I just don't know how real that is.
Man, can you imagine Jocelyn trying to memorize a script? Jocelyn in a straight hood. Like, what you see is what you get. And if you follow Jocelyn on Instagram like I do, every day Jocelyn is naked and twerking. Like, there is nothing about what Jocelyn did on those shows that was scripted. She gave you who she is.
But were they really married?
Oh, I'm not sure about that part of it. Yeah, so I don't know. I've not gone that deep into it. It's like I don't care enough to go find out if they actually were married or not. I've not seen anything that said that that Stevie J had to get a divorce prior to marrying Faith Evans. But hey, who knows? Like, yeah, I don't care. But I know Jocelyn is just like, yeah, she's hood. Like, what you see is what you get.
And you mentioned Faith Evans. That's another interesting dynamic when they bring in some well-known names into these episodes. And I just don't know. Like,
it's not into the episode. The people are married. Like, they've been married for years now. Faith and the good guy are a couple. Like, it's real.
Until I see the document.
Oh my God. Just go look on Instagram. Like, they live their life together on a daily basis.
Well, the good guys, Stevie J and Faith, just, I don't know. But stranger things have happened.
They dated back in the gap. Like, don't, like, move the reality TV out of the picture and just realize that this is a couple that's rekindling, and you know what it is to rekindle.
But they
don't ignore me.
They it's interesting. Maybe in my mind, they were always going to. They were a couple, probably while he was going through some of these antics with some of the other characters on the show. And then they knew some seasons later that they were going to bring her onto the show and let them have more of an authentic relationship to put a little balance in the show's life.
What's the guy's name that owns the Cowboy Stadium?
Jerry Jones?
Yeah, and he paid for the Super Bowl.
He paid for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the same type of conspiracy theory. Hey, if we're talking conspiracy theories, there it is. Jerry Jones paid his way to the Super Bowl.
Well, he hadn't paid enough,
evidently. Okay.
Maybe Tom Brady is paying his way to the Super Bowl.
New England rocks. He's gone though from New England.
Yeah,
but
he's at Tampa. He's at Tampa Bay.
That's
Tampa
still East
Bay.
Coast. East Coast Rocks.
All right, so we haven't settled anything, but we've talked about
and we know we wouldn't
different
settle anything
perspectives.
because that's the beauty of people being allowed to have their own perspective. Like the point is not to settle as much as it is to make sure that we give an opportunity for everyone's perspective to be heard. And for me, again, I honestly, when it gets down to like the brass tacks of it, like the old people would say, like I could care less because it is background noise. It gives me an opportunity to just decompress. Like I started watching this stuff really heavily when I was working 80 hours a week. And this was just an opportunity for me to spend my time not thinking, not doing anything that required brain power. And what better thing to do than to watch people on TV act in a way that you want to make sure that you never act.
Well, that is definitely something I would agree with because they can be pretty ratchet from time to time. But hey, go get your coins, make your dollars, get your cash, do what you got to do. I won't be in any reality TV shows anytime
y'all
soon.
Call me. Hey, I'm ready. Call me.
She'll be on it by herself.
That's okay. Call your girl.
Don't call. Anyway, all right, folks. I don't know. This is what we have. This is what we wanted to talk about a little bit. Ratchet TV. I don't know if you think it's reality or whether you think it's scripted or whether you think nothing of it at all. But probably after this episode, you might go and look up a few of these franchises and watch a few episodes and find yourself binging to catch up on some of these seasons of these reality TV shows. If you are going to catch up on something, I'd say catch up on American Idol, catch up on The Voice, catch up on Sunday Best, man. Here's some good singing, something that's going to give you some hope, some encouragement. But if you need some ratchetness in your life, go ahead and watch some older seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Oh my God, all of this stuff is so biased. Jeez,
you might even want to watch a little Love and Hip Hop Hollywood.
Jeez.
There's some Tiny and Toya episodes out there for you, some T.I. and Tiny. If you really want to go back, you can go back to Basketball Wives and see what Shawnee O'Neal, Tammy Rowan, Evelyn Lozada, and the crew are doing. There's Married at First Sight, Braxton Family Values, Bell Collective, Ready for Love. There is the
Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's
Love
a show.
and Marriage. Hey, before we go,
it's time to go.
We're gonna go. But what about these preacher shows?
Yeah, well.
What was it? The Real Preachers of L.A.?
Yeah, I not to touch that. I'm watching a show right now called The Rev, though, so it's pretty funny. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's some reality shows that I think are still ratchet. These Real Preachers of L.A., Real Preachers of, where were they? Detroit. Interesting how they allow themselves to be depicted on these shows.
Yeah, we took the opportunity to visit one of their churches, so it's serving their purposes.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that is the end all to be all on these reality shows. But hey, it is what it is. We'll be back at you with some things maybe that are a little more educational.
Whatever. Reality TV is educational. If you have an opinion that you would like to share with us, we would love to hear from you because we can always have a part 3. I mean, I can never ever get tired of talking about reality TV because it is my Saturday life. Yeah, that is my opportunity to relax, decompress, and just watch nothing or listen to nothing. That's what I do. Unless I have something real to do on Saturdays, like hanging out with my babies, I am in there spending the majority of the morning decompressing with some reality TVs, watching my recorded shows. And so we love to hear from you. Send us your reviews, send us your questions, send us your recommendations. If you have some reality shows that we have not had an opportunity to discuss or watch in other countries, hey, those of our family that's out there in across the waters, let us know what you guys are watching. We know that The Bachelor is a franchise that has gone out of the United States, and
they're in New Zealand now, I think.
And how about Idol? Isn't the Idol?
American Idol is in the UK, I believe.
Yeah, so we want to hear from y'all.
X Factor is in the UK somewhere.
Yeah, we are world travelers, so we want to hear from you guys.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of what we had to talk about. We'll be back at you with another episode coming very soon. And as she said, make sure you share these episodes. Make sure you give us some good feedback. Go on Apple Podcast or Spotify and give us a good 5-star rating. Yeah, 5-star. If you're going to go lower than 5-star, just hold on to that. We'll send me an inbox or something, an email, and we'll get you up to the 5-star position. And then you can go and give your 5-star rating. 5 stars. That's what we're looking for.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Number 5, top of the line. Hey, thanks again taking your time out to listen to us. And we'll catch you on the next time, everybody. Be blessed. We're out.
Peace.
Hey folks, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Dadcast Podcast. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. Please remember to share, follow, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review. If you'd like to contact us, please do so by sending us an email to comments@dadcastpodcast.com or send us a message on social media at Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Until next time, be blessed. I'm out.